Welcome to CPAC Now, America Uncanceled, for this special edition, Sans Mercedes.
I know.
She's not here, but we know you're out there, and if you're watching right now, you're probably a MAGA Republican. And if so, you know what you are. You're a semi-fascist. You're an extremist. You're an enemy of the state. Or, as they used to say, you're a deplorable. Today I'm joined by, it's almost like you're an official
I know.
co-guest host or something.
But only when you're not around. This is like an out-of-body experience, Matt.
Usually that's right. Larry O'Connor, who's the host of O'Connor and Company, which we listen to every morning. It's like must listen to radio for everybody in or near the swamp for all the right reasons, not the wrong reasons.
We get really excited about traffic jams here because it means you get to listen longer on the morning commute.
And he's a senior columnist at Town Hall, and we're going to be showing a clip of your latest addition to Town Hall's content.
Yeah, we made a video today specifically about this remarkably fascist speech.
It's amazing.
Under the guise of, calling Trump and Trump supporters fascists.
All right, so let's just start there. I mean, I'm not Jewish, you're not Jewish, so, and I'm German. So I probably got to put all my German fascist references over to the side because everyone will say, that was unique, and it was a unique, terrible part of history, but there's been a lot of fascist leaders, killers, and so a lot of people then jump to Mussolini. Because it's always fair to go to the Italians. Mussolini was an equally horrible, horrific person of history, but you have these fascist leaders, and they tend to light up public buildings and put a bunch of soldiers behind them, and basically tell half the country, I'm going to put you in jail.
Well, considering that this is the party of Bernie Sanders, who did his honeymoon in Moscow, how about we go Stalin? Let's skip over all the other fascists, go right to Stalin and the red and the. You're right. This felt like a Stalin-esque
What is the red
speech.
thing? Why do they keep falling into red? It's like that is the color of communism.
Well, because they're commies. And let's face it, oh, by the way, do you remember this back in the 80s? Well, you don't remember it, you're too young, man. But in the 80s, when they used to do election night, you know Reagan were the blue states? In 84, when he beat Mondale.
This. It's one of the things that makes me really mad.
They
swipe the color
swapped them. They swapped them. We know in every other country, like we just saw the new Prime Minister of Great Britain come over, and the color for the Conservative Party is blue. And for the Labour Party, it's red. Why? Because they're lefties, and they're red. So I think that they lean toward red.
Now, the true part of history is that Reagan's favorite color was red.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yes, his favorite color. He loved the red room in the White House. He decorated the president's personal quarters in the White House all in red. So I always thought maybe Reagan liked the red thing. But then I think there's another piece of this is blue tends to look very good on television. And so this helps all the Democrats look better.
Then it's even more inexplicable that they decided to put Benito Biden in front of that red washed wall, looking like he's at the gates of hell. He's like from Beelzebub's lair. He's screaming and ranting about MAGA Republicans. And what really ticked me off is that while he's standing there addressing the nation, this was a presidential address to the nation.
Covered by all the networks for free.
That's right. And he never once bothered, as he was calling MAGA Republicans a existential threat to our republic, he never once bothered to define what MAGA Republican means. Did you notice that? So does he mean Trump? Does he mean people in the Trump administration? Does he mean DeSantis and other elected officials? Without defining it, you'd be forgiven in thinking that he was talking about 74 million Americans who voted for the President Trump, because his slogan was MAGA, Make America Great Again. So doesn't that make anyone who voted for Trump a MAGA Republican?
The thing that's really concerning about this is he wants to hire 87,000 IRS agents, fully armed. You see the training videos. These IRS agents, they don't seem to want to just look through your paper. They seem to want to physically go after you. The second thing is, obviously, we saw the raid in Mar-a-Lago, but what I see is an attempt to diminish half the country, as if they're domestic terrorists, as I said here in Virginia. They're extremists. Somehow that whittles down their legal standing, so that it allows the government to come in for the next step.
Actually, I think you hit the nail on the head with this, Matt, whether you meant to or not.
Probably not.
Actually. But he used the phrase clear and present danger during this speech. He actually said that MAGA Republicans were a clear and present danger to our democracy. Of course, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Clear and present danger, that's legal language that was first employed by the Woodrow Wilson administration back in the early 20th century, and they used it for legal justification to imprison the political opponents of Woodrow Wilson during the First World War. And he got the Supreme Court to agree to this, that you could imprison your political opponents in wartime because they were a clear and present danger to the country. It's not an accident that Biden used those words. You'd be forgiven to then connect those dots and think, oh, okay, so we're an existential threat to the country, we're a clear and present danger, we're MAGA Republicans. They just raided Donald Trump's home using the FBI in an unprecedented manner. We're next. They will imprison us because of our thought, because of our political positions. I don't want to think that that's what America is turning to, but follow his lead here on where he's going.
So Democrats have always used their police powers very aggressively. We obviously know of FDR putting Japanese Americans, people who were here legally from Japan,
American citizens,
internment camps, and so you know what if you can declare, if there's such thing as a semi-fascist, and I kind of think it's either all or nothing.
Yeah, really, it's like being semi-pregnant.
It's almost like he's declaring a semi-civil war, which is we got to have a new legal understanding for what we can do with people like you and I because we're so dangerous.
You know what? We're not being fair to the dictator in the White House, because he did actually say in his speech that not all Republicans are like this. There are a few acceptable Republicans. He's worked with them before. So if you're a Republican that Biden can work with, that's okay. I don't know about you. I mean, I voted Republican my adult life, and whenever I wonder which Republicans are acceptable and appropriate and the ones I should model after, I always think, gee, who would Biden approve of?
Yeah.
You know, who would a guy who actually approves of abortion up to the final days of pregnancy on demand, taxpayer funded, who would he vote for? Who would the guy who ruined Robert Bork's life and tried to ruin Clarence Thomas's life? I want to be the kind of Republican he would approve of.
Yeah, and I think it's Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, Larry Hogan, my favorite governor.
And
I like
probably Mitt Romney, although let's not forget, 10 years ago, Mitt Romney was going to put black people back in chains, according to Joe Biden. So 10 years ago, Mitt Romney, he's not approved of, but now maybe Mitt Romney is.
You know, Larry Hogan's doing so bad that he recently went to Iowa and they said Hogan's coming. They thought it was going to be Hulk Hogan, and there was some people who knew that was not that many. But then they realized it was Larry Hogan, and then it was a complete bust.
Well,
I always like it when people are campaigning in Iowa and they have those good tight shots of the candidate. They do that because there's literally absolutely nobody there at the pancake flipping contest or whatever it is. So Joy Reid is someone, I've been on TV a bunch with, I bet you have too. I did a bunch of MSNBC with her, and I was always like, wow, she's coming in hot. But she has really gone full leftist.
Oh.
She never has me on her show. She used to invite me to be on her show almost on a weekly basis. I always avoided it because it was in a really bad time slot on the weekend. I was like, this isn't really serious, but she made some outlandish charges the other day.
This goes well beyond lefty. This is like tinfoil hat stuff, conspiracy theory stuff.
So watch this clip of Joy Reid on MSNBC.
Glenn, you know, while all of this is happening, we know that in 2021 that there was a rash of deaths of American spies. They were being caught. They were being killed. This is a very real and exigent circumstance, and the CIA has admitted to that. We are not saying that we know that there is some connection between the Purloined documents and those events. But they did happen at a time when Trump did have custody of some really sensitive information that he shouldn't have had. You know, you think about that.
Wow.
So we're told it's going to be okay, Joy.
My favorite part of that is, now we're not saying there's a connection, but Trump's guilty of murder. You know, like how do you prep? And how is she approved? How does NBC News keep that show on the air when she just made that kind of?
That was going to be my point. I was going to move away from Joy Reid's commentary, which, how is that even commentary? Like, you know, I've spent time down in Mar-a-Lago. I was in Bedminster literally days ago. I mean, this is like Fort Knox, just so you know. Like, you can't go into these places. There is Secret Service everywhere.
You don't know this story, but I was actually invited down to a party, the premiere of Salem Media's 2000 Mules for the big, and something got screwed up and my name wasn't on the list, so I did. Trust me, it's secure.
It's hard to get in.
They didn't let me in. I never got in. I flew all the way down to West Palm Beach and couldn't make it in.
You needed to hire a mule.
Yeah, tell me.
So so you realize, like, it's a lot harder. So like keeping dead bodies in the freezer, a difficult thing. But the bigger point is this. We're told, certainly CNN is leading the charge of this idea. Okay, we got to go back to being in the range of being somewhat journalistic. MSNBC is just like, it's hop the fence here.
Yeah.
How are they even on TV? I don't understand it.
They've clearly decided this is their business model, and they're just going to go all in on it. But the likes of Joy Reid, I mean, Joy Reid speculating about an FBI investigation. Let's not forget, Joy Reid literally lied about her own website being
That's
hacked,
right.
called in the FBI on a false report of a federal crime, and then later acknowledged that her website never got hacked. So
Now, she
she's
was
actually guilty of a
forgiven.
federal crime.
She was forgiven of her anti-gay tweeting.
Right, homophobic tweets
all
and
the rest.
Things, yeah.
Because she's a woman of color and they wanted to give her a chance, right? To have a prime time slot.
Or being on the left means never having to say you're sorry. You can say stuff like that. I mean, look at Joe Biden, for God's sake, and his history of racist legislation and racist comments. And he was don't ask, don't tell, as Rick Grinnell, our friend, would often remind you. He actually suggested that gay people can't be in the military or have high positions in government because they're a security threat.
Right.
Because they're gay. But all is forgiven with Joe Biden as long as he does what the left tells him to do.
He was also pro-life when he was elected to the Senate from Delaware, voted in the United States Senate to say he would like Roe v. Wade overturned.
Yeah.
So it just shows you, you're right.
He is a very devout Catholic, let's not forget.
Wow, he's so devout. It's unbelievable.
The devoutiest.
It's really gross. But let's go to the CNN piece. So they're making some changes over there. They seem to want to say that they're going to get to some reasonable range. What's your take?
Well, Brian Stelter's gone now, right?
Yeah.
Andrew Cuomo, Chris Cuomo.
But let's go through. I'm going to counter. You bring him
Okay.
up. Brian Stelter, terrible ratings.
Terrible ratings.
So he was a dog.
Punchline. He was a punchline.
That's right.
But let's not forget, it took this long for them to get rid of him.
Yep.
But yeah, he's gone. Chris Cuomo is gone under...
because he facilitated through CNN being the PR maestro for his brother, the now disgraced former governor of New York. So, like, he did cross a line there,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, what about John Harwood, CNN White House reporter? He just got fired, I think, on Friday.
I think because he's old and white, right?
No, I think...
As I call them, the wrinkly liberals.
He was pretty out there. In fact,
he's way out there.
The day he got fired, he went out to Twitter and say, let's face it, Joe Biden saying that Republicans are a threat to our nation is objectively true.
That's right.
And within hours, he was fired. And by the way, let's not forget, during the 2016 Republican nomination process, during those primaries, John Harwood, who then was with CNBC, was a moderator for a debate to determine a Republican nominee.
That's our fault.
That is our fault.
That's our fault.
Why
We're
do we
stupid.
concede this power to these
PJ
people?
O'Rourke has said they are the evil party, we are the stupid party.
We are.
Now when Don Lemon gets fired, maybe we're getting closer to something that's a reasonable product.
I suppose so, but I guess it depends on who they replace them with.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like their morning show is getting lower ratings than the Cartoon Network now.
I want to say that ever since they stopped inviting me to be on the morning show, their ratings have really plummeted.
You're not wrong. No, I mean, I know it's
I'm
not
joking,
you,
but
it's the idea of having a dynamic conversation that reflects the conversations that are happening in every home in America.
And if you or I are on the CNN morning show, that gave them the opportunity. I used to debate against fake Republicans like Anna Navarro or who's that other guy, David Frum, or or
the
Bill
approved
Kristol.
of Republicans. Again, these are all the Republicans Joe Biden approves of.
Yeah, who are too short to get on the ride, but they get to get on there. So they even get it their way because it's Republican versus Republican political violence. And
you're still willing to go in there and mix it up. But
I think you and I are both of the same mentality on this, which is happy warriors.
Yep.
Not always that happy these days, but you're joyful about what you believe. And look, I have my views. Some of them are easier to win debates on. Some of them are really fun and delicious to win debates on. I admit some of the other ones, it takes a little more time. That you don't just get that kind of time on TV. Sometimes my wife will say, I don't think this is a great topic for you to be out there. And I'll be like, I think for a conservative today, you got to be willing just to go out there and talk about pretty much anything.
Yep.
And I remember when I was on CNN and the chubby beauty contestant thing was hot because Trump had mocked someone on Twitter who was a beauty contestant and she was Hispanic.
I remember that now.
And I'm going to CNN. CNN is always so great. They would say, what's the topic? Oh, Hillary's emails. Okay. And then like 5 seconds before you go on, they're like, we've changed it to Trump attacking a Hispanic woman who's in a beauty contest. I call my wife, my great wife, and she's like, oh, I just talked to my mom. And the Cuban take on this in Miami is that if you're going to be a beauty contestant, you probably have to be beautiful. So it was like, oh, that's a good line.
So
but
you use that on the...
I did, but the point is the following, which is we got to be able to take this everywhere.
Yep.
And I actually think this election, we're going to have a lot of Democrats who like cops, who like the military, who put out their flag.
Yep.
You know, I don't think this is a slam.
Who don't want to spend $8 a pound for hamburger, who actually want to be able to feed their babies with baby formula on the shelves, who want to be able to buy a car at a reasonable rate. By the way,
this is serious stuff.
Matt, you're absolutely right. And that's why we heard that speech last week. This was a dramatic, divisive, vitriolic attempt to change the subject. So the last thing they want to do is talk about their failed agenda.
So let me give you my quick take. My quick take is when Bob Dole was running in 1996 at the end of his campaign, the goal was not for Bob Dole to win, unfortunately. The goal was to not hemorrhage Republican House seats. And I kind of felt like Joe Biden's speech actually was a defensive move to say, Blue America, please clap, right? Please vote for at least your blue congressmen so they don't just kill us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't think it was an offensive thing where they're feeling cocky.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, holy crap, we could lose everything. We got to get our people to stay on our side.
I think they also think that they think they won because Trump was so unpopular in 2020, and that's how they won. We know that there's a lot of other things in play there, but I think they think injecting the story of Trump into the headlines right now, they're going to potentially get voters, instead of voting on what's actually happening and on the policies that they put forward. There clearly isn't a clear vision that Biden has put forth for the American people, and the Democrats haven't done that either. I think they think that by putting Trump in the conversation, that people will come out and get motivated to vote against him, even though he's not even on the ticket. So
I'm not doing my Four Eyes impersonation of Larry
Those
O'Connor
are nice
here,
glasses
but
on you.
The best glasses you can get from a retailer who I won't name because they've gone woke.
Oh.
But Hillary Clinton was on Twitter today.
Oh, yes.
She's really a good political strategist. She thinks, in light of the raid of Mar-a-Lago, she ought to get back and try to relitigate her own fiasco with classified top secret emails on.
How brilliant.
So
Hillary Clinton jumps in and says, hey, since we're talking about the inappropriate handling of classified documents, remember me? I know something about this.
Mr. Cotter?
Right.
Call on me. So we're calling on her, and she's literally on Twitter, and I got so excited there that I got out of it.
Sorry.
But I responded to some of her tweets by saying,
is she trying to say that hey, I didn't do anything wrong?
She's basically saying Comey is now saying that there was no classified emails, but as you know, there's like 16 million classifications of emails that are secretive enough that we don't want them to be outside.
There's secret, there's top secret, there's classified,
that's right.
There's SCI.
And she broke all kinds of rules in the government. So I say, ma'am, I respond to Hillary Clinton, we never even got to see all those emails due to your creative filing system explosions.
Exactly.
You know, remember that?
Bleach bit and hammers and everything. Well, listen, this is the key. She was able to delete 30,000 emails.
We never saw them.
Solely based on her own judgment.
That's right.
So we'll never know how many
were
top
yoga.
Secret.
It was Hillary. It was Chelsea's
wedding plan.
It was Bill's travel schedule. That would have been
and it was Anthony Weiner's to-do list.
Well, this is what I said.
Or who-to-do list.
Then I say to the former Secretary of State, who, by the way, is comparing herself to a president. She never was the president.
That's right.
She's the one who first started saying Donald Trump was an illegitimate president because it was stolen.
By the way, Hillary Clinton was never president, and she never will be.
But let's make her think she should run.
All right.
I really would like to see her run. The other tweet I sent to her, she says, I can't believe we're still talking about this, but my emails, ... And she has a new hat you can buy. It talks about it.
Yeah.
As Trump's problems continue to mount, the right is trying to make this about me. I respond, then why did you apologize?
That's right.
And why did Comey chastise you, saying you had emails that compromised American secrets? How did a sex offender get your emails?
That's right.
She's unbelievable.
During the 2016 campaign, she was forced multiple times to apologize, even though none of them were sincere. During the debate, she said, I made mistakes.
Debate with Trump, she apologized.
That's right. And now she's saying she did nothing wrong. But when you point out Anthony Weiner and how a sexual, I'm assuming that's the sexual offender you're talking about and not Jeffrey Epstein.
Weiner, I'm talking
not her husband.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is what makes this such an important distinction as people compare Hillary Clinton's classified documents with with the alleged classified documents, which I won't even concede the point that these were classified because he was president of the United States and he had the ability to declassify these documents. But the documents that were at Mar-a-Lago were not digital. They were not on hard drives, so they weren't accessible by hackers. They weren't accessible by enemies, foreign and domestic, in Moscow or Beijing or Jeffrey Epstein's island. And they were because they were physical documents, they were in a office of a former president, literally protected by the Secret Service. I mean, it was pretty much the safest place you can be if you're a classified document, which again, we shouldn't even concede the point that they were.
So it's all about Hillary, and it looks to me like she's inching her way as Joe Biden seems to be just, I mean, let's face it, a failed presidency. He's kind of, falling apart before our eyes. She's clearly inching to remind everybody.
Is this just wishful thinking?
No.
You really think she's going to run?
It's wishful thinking, and I think she's actually, why would you keep nosing your way in? Right?
Oh, Lord, I guess.
So speaking about...
Or she's trying to sell her new show on Apple TV with Chelsea.
So...
she's got a new
is that true?
Oh, yeah. They got a whole new series. It's called, what's it called? Fierce or something. It's all about women and things. And
really?
She and Chelsea are on a road trip. You haven't seen this?
No.
Oh, I'll send you a link to it. It's nauseating.
Wow.
Yeah.
So speaking of nauseating, as we come to close this edition of America Uncanceled, you have a very important video element that you've added to Town Hall.
Speaking of nauseating, Larry's made a great video, and you're going to love it.
It's on the Town Hall website.
It is. We're doing these daily social media
tweet it out.
videos. Thank you. And it's very much about the speech that Biden just gave last week and what's really behind it.
Watch Larry O'Connor's take on the semi-fascist looking speech that happened at Independence Hall.
And in the meantime, don't get distracted by Biden's distractions. Keep your eye on the prize. This is about the economy, their failed policies, onwards to November.
Amen, brother. Watch this, and we'll see you tomorrow.
It's been several days now since President Joe Biden delivered a historically divisive and angry speech in front of a blood-red backdrop.
But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
I really thought that speech was powerful the first time I heard it delivered, in the original German.
Des Volkes, gib du jetzt eine Stimme ab. Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
Since he never bothered to define what he meant by MAGA Republicans, you'd be forgiven for thinking that President Joe Biden just called 74 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump and his Make America Great Again campaign enemies of the people. Now, to avoid falling into their own deplorables moment,
you could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
President Biden appeared to try to walk things back a little bit.
Mr. President, do you consider all Trump supporters to be a threat to the country?
No, everyone. Come on, look, guys. You keep trying to make that case. I don't consider any Trump supporter a threat to the country. I do think anyone who calls for the use of violence fails to condemn violence on the Jews. Chooses to acknowledge when an election has been won. Insists upon changing the way in which the rules count votes. That is a threat to democracy.
Oh, well, that clears everything up, doesn't it? Maybe he should have made that point during his direct from the gates of hell speech the other day. But now that we know that Joe Biden doesn't have any problem with individual Trump voters, let's see how he dealt with a heckler at his Labor Day speech in Wisconsin.
Let him go. No, don't let him go. Look, everybody's entitled to be an idiot. No, everybody's entitled. Okay?
No. No. Ah, yes, President Unity strikes again. Hey, can we go back to the angry dictator ranting at the masses while drenched in angry blood for a moment? Benito Biden referred to Trump supporters as a clear and present danger to our democracy during his terrifying rant direct from Beelzebub's lair.
That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy.
Yeah, that's right. Clear and present danger. Now, let's have a little history lesson here, because clear and present danger is a legal term. It goes all the way back to the Woodrow Wilson era. Now, you remember Woodrow Wilson, don't you? He was a president of the United States who was so enamored by the Ku Klux Klan that he actually screened the film Birth of a Nation in the White House. It was the first movie ever screened in the White House. It was a love letter to the KKK. His full embrace of the Klan even led to the 1924 Democrat National Convention in New York City that was referred to as the Klan Bake because it featured a bunch of Klansmen marching down the streets of Manhattan as full participants in the proceedings. Did I mention these are all Democrats here? Yeah. Anyway, Woodrow Wilson used the term clear and present danger to legally justify imprisoning his political opponents who opposed his leadership during World War I. Incidentally, President Wilson also suffered a debilitating stroke that left him so brain-addled that his cabinet and his wife actually ran things during his administration. Hold on. Are we talking about the early 20th century or the early 21st century with a brain-addled Democrat in the White House? As Mark Twain once said, history may not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme quite a bit.